How's it, guys? This is Dayvy FPL and welcome back to another Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now, more specifically, this is going to be a continuation of the previous video I made, which was the best defenders in FPL this season, as well as kind of this draft series that I've been going on. The last draft we did was Harry Kane, which is quite an interesting one to do, but I think this one's going to be a little bit more interesting to do. It is the 5 at the back draft. Now, this has been spoken about quite a bit in the FPL community, and I thought that I would take my swing at it and kind of bring up a draft that hopefully you guys find enjoyable and also maybe ponders your mind a little bit. Maybe you consider this strategy. One thing I will say about the strategy is it does seem quite fun, and the F in FPL stands for fun, as you know, so hopefully you will, like some of us, will consider it and maybe even stick to it come game week 1. So let's get into the video. First of all, our community league, Dayvy vs the World, is open and ready to roll. So to join the league, it is code BDFI35. Thanks to those of you who have joined already, and please join if you have not. Hopefully we're going to be kind of reviewing some of your guys' teams in upcoming live streams and that kind of thing. So join if you want to, and we'll see how you finish compared to me. I reckon a lot of you guys are going to be beating me, to be fair. So the first thing is first, I kind of wanted to give you a little bit of a description of the 5 at the back and my personal opinions of what it means. So as on the screen you can see there, it is a 5 defensive back. That does not mean that we have to have a left back, centre back, sweeper and that kind of thing. I don't really know if we call it sweeper in football anyway, so it's just simply having 5 defenders at the back in your formation, but in my opinion it means 5 premium defenders who will play every game week. What I mean by this is you can have 2 4.5s, but the chances are they'll probably be on your bench, and that's just a normal squad. A 5 at the back means that you're going to be having 5 players that play every game week for you. Maybe some mild rotation, but come a game week 1, 2, 3, they're probably going to be playing every single game and hopefully getting you some points. So the big thing about 5 at the back is that we have seen a transition from outfield players to defenders since last season. Main reason being is that defenders were shown for consistency and points last season, and a lot of them did well. But that can be said for the attacks and defenses of the 2 best teams in the league, Man City and Liverpool, just being so strong. So we relied on Liverpool and Man City assets heavily for their clean sheets, and maybe in the upcoming season they will not be that defensively strong. But that is just a thing that you have to kind of decide if you think they'll continue their defensive form going into the season. But it's definitely a strategy that a lot of people it's catching a lot of people's attention, and I'm hoping that some people kind of opt for it, as I think it'll be quite interesting to see how it performs. Personally, I don't know if I'll go for 5 at the back per se, but I probably will have a couple of playing defenders, as with defenders you kind of want the best fixtures, as it's so easy for them to concede, and then all your clean sheet points are kind of wiped out. So for defenders, you kind of pick the ones that have the best fixtures, even if it means that playing your premium defenders on the bench. So the argument for the 5 at the back is basically when you compare a 7 million defender to a 7 million midfielder. When I'm saying this, I'm saying let's take Andy Robertson, for example, and then versus Milo from Crystal Palace. I'm not going to say his name, as I'm probably going to be butchering it again, but they are both priced at 7 million this year. So when we compare them in terms of team value and points returns, last season Andy Robertson returned 213 points, whereas Milo from Crystal Palace returned 166. As you can see, Andy Robertson offers you so much more returns and is a better option. So basically what people are saying is that would you rather have a 7 million defender or a 7 million midfielder or attacker? I've just opted for a midfielder in this case, as I just like the 7 million options in midfield, and there are a couple or more options in that midfield compared to attack. So it's a no-brainer here. You're going to be opting for Andy Robertson every day of the week. However, there is some counter arguments to this, and I'm going to be expressing my argument to this in the next slide. Basically, with this argument, I agree with it. I do think that you can opt for a 7 million defender, but with my argument, as you can see, you have to compare a 4.5 defender to a 4.5 midfielder. As if you opt for a 5 at the back, you're probably going to be opting for a 4.5 midfielder or forward. Again, I've opted for a 4.5 midfielder, as they are better playing midfielders compared to the 4.5 forwards. So let's compare Lascelles from Newcastle to Dale Stephens from Brighton. Now, Lascelles scored 95 points compared to Stephens' 65 last season, so you can see that the Newcastle man offers you so much more value coming in at that 4.5 million price. Reason being is the 4.5 million midfielders are pretty bad, to be honest. They are kind of your CDMs that will offer you 2 points or 3 if you are lucky and they keep a clean sheet, but a 4.5 defender could offer you a clean sheet and even some attacking returns going forward off a set piece. Now, the 4.5 defenders, I spoke about them in my previous video where I spoke about the top defenders, so go and look at that video if you are interested in some 4.5 defenders that will offer some attacking threat and offer you some advanced points. So this is my counter argument to the whole, would you rather have a 7 million defender to a 7 million midfielder? As you got to look at the bigger picture, and I know when you focused on Andy Robertson versus another player, you kind of always going to opt for Andy Robertson, but are you happy with that 4.5 midfielder then in your squad? Personally, this is why I think I will be opting for basically a 3 or 4 at the back and not exactly a 5 at the back, as there are plenty 4.5 defenders that can do the job for me and get me those points when I need them to. So let's get on to the first draft. And as we do in these draft videos, I'll be giving you the almost premium option first and then a more balanced option second. So in this option, I've gone for the premium defensive line. I've gone for Ryan in the goalkeeper position just for a little bit of budget spread there so I can kind of pump as much money into my defense as possible. I've gone for Andy Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold, which I know is absolutely a sight to behold as they should offer so many points this season, and I can see why a lot of people are drawn to the double Liverpool defense. I've gone for Laporte as well. He comes in at 6.5. I've opted for him as an expensive option as he is more nailed as the spoken about Zinchenko. I said in my previous video that Zinchenko has come out as a good option these days, and I'll talk about it a little bit later on. But Laporte comes in as he is secured of his spot, in my opinion. At 6.5 million, he is quite expensive, but he does offer a little bit of attacking threat, especially off corners or free kicks if he is going to header them. Then I've gone for Digne and Coleman, who come in at 6 million and 5.5. This Everton double up has been popular in my previous drafts, as you have watched if you have seen them, and I just like them because of their great fixtures, and Digne and Coleman offer so much attacking threat, it is crazy. They are very similar to Robertson and Alexander-Arnold, just the blue side of Merseyside. But they are continuously going up and down the field and shipping in crosses. And the nice thing about Digne is he does offer that set piece threat if he is on free kicks and corners. Going into midfield, the nice thing is we still manage to fit in Sterling and Salah, but you could maybe opt for a De Bruyne or someone cheaper, and then you can upgrade your forward line. Salah and Sterling are no-brainers for me, and I think are going to be on a lot of teams and a lot of manager squads going into game week 1 of this FPL season. I opted for Fraser as I've had to drop Wilson, and Bournemouth's attacking fixtures are just incredible. So I've gone for the double up of Fraser and King instead of King and Wilson. Fraser comes in at 7.5, which might be a little bit expensive, but he does offer a lot of assist threat coming in off those wing positions for Bournemouth. I've opted for the cheaper alternatives of King and Deulofeu at 6.5 each for our budget strikers, as we are able to spread the budget in the defense, but not when it gets to the forwards. We're kind of shot for cash a little bit. I've gone for Button on the bench as he is that cheap enabler, along with Jeffrey Schlupp from Crystal Palace. He comes in at 5.5, so you could basically put any player in, and you could maybe downgrade some of the other defenders if you want to upgrade Schlupp, but he is kind of a bench player, so he will kind of rotate with whoever needs to be. Then I've gone for Dendoncker and Greenwood, who you all know are probably some of the best budget enablers going into the season, and I think a lot of us are going to have them on our bench come game week 1. So this draft is especially nice because of that whole premium defense. My only worry is that, as I said previously, 1 goal and I have 2 double clean sheets kind of knocked out there. So that could be a little bit disappointing and could be putting my eggs in one basket, as they say. But I'm confident that Everton, Man City and Liverpool should have good defensive seasons, and even if they don't keep a clean sheet in one game, they're probably going to be keeping them in the next 3. So I'm also happy with this draft as I'm able to keep Sterling and Salah and opt for some differentials with Fraser and Deulofeu. Going into our Next draft, which is the more kind of balanced draft and offers you a little bit more of rotation, is this draft. You can see in the changes that I've made is I've dropped Laporte to Zinchenko. As I said, I would talk about him. He is kind of an option that is kind of popped up recently, especially with Benjamin Mendy set to miss the start of the season. However, news has come out recently that he could be back for the start and could be challenging for that fullback position. But so far, Zinchenko looks nailed, and as Angelino, who was bought in for Man City to kind of cover those fullback positions, has been a little bit disappointing in preseason. I can kind of see Zinchenko starting most games come the start of the season. I've also opted to drop Trent Alexander-Arnold to Van Dijk just to save that 0.5 million. Van Dijk is nailed in that Liverpool lineup, whereas Trent may be a little bit of a rotation risk, but he does lose that attacking threat when you do downgrade to Van Dijk. So could save some money and upgrade Van Dijk to Trent, but I've just kind of gone for this to spread the funds a little bit. Then we have Lucas Digne and Coleman, who have stayed in the lineup, as they do come in as pretty much some of the cheapest defenders we own, so kind of can't really downgrade them that much. But we have still managed to fit in Sterling and Salah into this lineup, as long with Fraser and King. Additions that have been made was Jeffrey Schlupp has been upgraded to Tielemans to kind of cover that Vardy and Maddison attack, and even Perez if he does get on the score sheet. Tielemans is a great option and has very good stats, even though he did play most of last season only towards the end of the season. Very good signing for Leicester, and I'm hoping that he can offer some attacking threat going forward. And then you can see that we've dropped Deulofeu to the bench, but that's only because I've upgraded him to Giroud. And when you look at these lineups and these fixtures that all my players have, Giroud probably has the worst one, so I've put him on the bench, but he will certainly come on, and this squad offers you a little bit more rotation along with that attacking and midfield slots, so you can kind of chop and change your team around a little bit. But I've gone for Giroud as I think that he will be the starting striker for Chelsea, and I do think I like their fixtures as well. So Giroud just on the bench for game week 1, but he will come on after that, and I think this offers us a little bit of a differential there compared to other lineups kind of. Then Button, Dendoncker and Greenwood on the bench again, but the one thing I don't like about this squad is that they could prove a little bit of rotation headache here if you have to pick a starting lineup and everyone has a good fixture. So you could maybe downgrade some of these players and get a more balanced squad, but I've just opted for Giroud as it's a little bit of a different player. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope it's been lots of fun looking at these 5 at the back drafts. As I said earlier, it is fun to have these kind of different formations, and it could prove very profitable come the start of game week 1. So let me know down below if you are opting for the 5 at the back and what your kind of template or lineup is for your 5 at the back. But otherwise, like the video if you did enjoy it. I appreciate it a lot, and subscribe if you are new to the channel or just a timely watcher and have not subscribed yet. I appreciate any support for the channel, and it is much appreciated. But otherwise, I'm going to be signing off. This has been Dayvy FPL, and I'm out. Cheers. Bye.